2. Welcome back at WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net. We are at Faidley's. We're in Lexington Market, and we're doing Baltimore Positive. And, I got to get all the microphones right here because I got Don Moeller in his Oriole gear. We've got...
It's Oriole week.
How many? 2 dozen crabs here. These look like number ones to me. We got some males here. And the divine family of Faidley's. Nancy and Bill are here. I've never seen you without a spatula making crab cakes and doing things. I didn't. You're famous.
Every now and then I clean up.
Man, they fixed you all up, man.
That's right.
How many years?
Look at these.
Look at this.
Look at that. Come on.
When's the first time you walked into Lexington Market? Because Don and I, when we walk into Lexington Market, we remember the first time we walked into Lexington Market.
I don't remember. I was so little. I think my dad brought me in to visit my grandfather when I was just a baby. My grandfather was here in 1886. When this was an outside market.
Now, you knew that grandfather that was here in 86. He told you stories.
That's right.
Of the day he walked in here in 1886.
No, he didn't tell me stories about that. I wasn't interested in that at that time.
Oh.
You were interested in boys or what?
No. I just came along for the ride to see what was going on.
Well, her husband's sitting next to her, too. So, he probably would say she was interested in boys because you were the boy,
I
right?
have no idea. I wasn't from Baltimore. I'm from Kansas. She was a blind date. I used to say
What?
it. Yeah.
How does a guy from Kansas and a girl from Baltimore get to... What happened here?
Blind date.
What year was this? Give me a year.
58.
All right, my parents were married in 45 in Mount Carmel in Essex. So I'm 50. So you guys met and the Colts won a championship, and there we go.
Yep.
That was a big year. That's right.
Tell me the first time he touched a crab.
It was well after we... No,
it was right after that.
Right after we got married.
Yeah.
And Bill was in Norfolk at the time, right? You were stationed at Norfolk?
I was on a
Navy?
ship.
Navy.
All right.
He was...
She met a sailor.
I'm telling
Oh, Mr. Faidley probably didn't like
and
that.
the rest is history.
No, it went like this. I went to Towson State Teachers College.
Oh.
And I had a girlfriend there, and I had some friends down in Annapolis at the Naval Academy. And at that time frame, they had tea dances on Sunday afternoon, and they used to beg us because the girls didn't come and go.
Right.
And they'd say to me, Nancy, can't you get some girls to come down because they didn't want to dance with themselves at the tea dances. So I talked one of my good friends into going, and she met her husband down there. And he turned out to be an admiral, built the Trident missile, so she did pretty good.
Nice. She's glad you took her to the party that day.
Glad she
lived a good life.
And her husband was on board ship, very young. In fact, Bill was senior to him at the time, on aboard of a destroyer, and they introduced me to Bill 61 years ago.
And here we are.
And
That's
here
a
we
lot
are.
of crab cakes ago.
That's right.
So we're here at Faidley's. We're doing Baltimore Positive. Don, when you and I got together to talk about this is exactly what we dreamed to be doing. 6 months later is sitting in places like Faidley's, advertising, promoting, telling your story, and we get to know you just from television. And I've told you, I've been over here 100 times for crab cakes. I've lived downtown 20 years. I used to walk through here going to Camden Yards back in the 90s. First time I could afford an upscale crab cake back in the day, And I never talked to you. You're a little intimidating to me because of the legend, seeing you on television, mixing up these crab cakes. You're always so busy in here. We're here a little early in the day, but there's always a line out the door, and I'm like, leave that lady alone. She gets bothered by every tourist. This beautiful lady back here from Chicago's eating one of your crabs. She's just here being a tourist. And
Nestor gave her a lesson.
I gave her a lesson, and he told me I did it wrong. I've been doing it wrong for 50 years.
You did it East Side. I was showing him
West Side.
We did the West Side method.
Do you take the claws off first or no? In East Side, we take the claws off first because I don't want to deal with all that.
Be
No,
honest.
I don't. I use it as levers. I leave the claws on.
No, the claws for me are dessert. I eat the
You're
claw
going to sell
last.
that one. Don't go ripping that one apart. You've
Well,
sold that.
that's right. I did sell this already. We've
Somebody
sold,
tried
these
to
are
come
sold-
buy them all.
Yeah, came by our promotion here. No, I guess I just grew up. My dad was here after my grandfather.
Was this where you wanted to be when you were a little girl in your spare time, or no?
No, I went to Towson to teach.
Okay, so you had.
Did you ever
But when you were a
teach?
kid, did
Yes,
you
I
wanna,
did. I taught in Halethorpe for a
Okay.
couple years, and then
You were trying to not do this for a living, maybe.
That's right.
Okay,
and Bill
fair
was
enough.
in the Pentagon, and we moved to Arlington, and I taught in Arlington the first
Okay.
year we were married. And Bill would come over and help my dad with the business on weekends. And after a while, we had our little children came along, and my father said, "Why don't you get out of the Navy and come in with me?" So that was it. So he brought both of us back into the business then. Bill left the Navy. He had,
Bill, I
had
want to ask
13
you,
years
what made
in.
this attractive on the weekends for a kid from Kansas off a boat, in love with this lady and her
The
father?
$25.
Yeah. Well, I got paid $20 a day, and I could live on that all week up in Philadelphia.
But it wasn't the smell of fish or the taste of crab cakes.
No, but it was. The thing was, Baltimore at that time frame was on the verge of thriving. I could see it, and that's why I said, yeah.
1960, around that area?
It's 64.
64.
Yeah, and it was just on the verge of booming. And I said, I want to be a part of it.
You know what? I don't think you can look into 55 years ahead to say what it would be or your whole life would be here, and people would come from all over the world to eat your. We were here last week, and there were like admirals ordering crabs and crab cakes for balls when we were in the middle. You left. You said, "I'm sorry, I got to tend to business." We business too. I mean, you're in the business selling seafood here. That's why I leave you alone when I'm in here and going rush hour, and I don't want to come up and say, "Oh, I've been eating your crab cakes my whole life." And all. But I have, and I've had a couple of beers here before ball games and whatnot. We're trying to bring the city to the best city it can be, right? And you guys are here in the middle of it. And when we talk to you, it's not lost on you. People come to you down in Ellicott City where you make home.
I'm going to have to interrupt you for a second.
Sure.
We're about to lose 24 of our friends.
They've
been
these
sold.
Are sold. We sold these. All right,
are
sorry.
sold. I guess
Good
that's
thing I didn't open one. She's trying to teach me how to eat it.
for those of you.
Sorry.
For those
We had to
of you-
take them.
For those of you
They're all gone.
listening
They were cooked.
on the podcast and not watching on Facebook, we had 24 beautiful blue crabs, Maryland crabs, that we just lost because they were sold. I guess that's a good thing.
That's a good thing, right? But I'm very proud of Lexington Market. To me, it was it was wonderful in bygone years because anybody that was anybody came to Lexington Market because we're one of the oldest markets in the country, and it was such a mix and a beautiful. The people coming together, and still is today.
Well, that's the one thing people say. You go to the city, you still have a business in the city.
Oh, my
What's great?
heavens.
And you're here every single day, slinging fish, slinging crab cakes, selling beer, having fun. Beautiful ladies from Chicago coming through. She's going to 50 states, and she wants to eat a crab in Maryland, and she's doing it at Faidley's, right? So,
That's right, 'cause
And that
we have
happens
the
every
best.
day of your life here, literally, right?
We have the best.
You
That's
told
why.
us a story about the difference between a Maryland crab, right, and any other kind of crab. And I want to let you on the soapbox on that because you can't really get a Maryland crab in December, right?
No. We start getting them in May, and they are gone mostly. I think I get them all the way up until December.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
Around Thanksgiving. And they're the heaviest then. They're at their best in September. People don't realize that.
Don don't need him then because he can't enjoy him with an Oriole game and a beer and Chuck Thompson.
Listen, I know that the Divines are great Oriole fans. Nestor and I go back and forth. I wore my Oriole shirt today. It's the week we've drafted Adley Rushman. It's day one
He's got
of
fever.
the new era, right,
Good.
Bill?
Don
Day
wants to be
one.
the guy that says, I was still there when they lost 130
It was
games back in 19. I
day
was there.
one of the
Yeah.
For every
Baltimore
inning.
Positive. But go back to Nestor's question about, because I know people, we talked about this last week, I know people who are fanatical. They won't eat a crab unless it's a Maryland crab. Talk a little bit about the difference between Maryland crabs and crabs you might fly in.
You
from
can
all
taste the
over.
difference.
Oh, I absolutely can taste the difference. It's the flavor. It's the flavor, and they're fat, and they have a distinct flavor from any. Even if you get, it's the same crab in Virginia, but it has something to do with when they take them out of the
What they
Maryland
eat.
waters.
Anybody
It's
would
what
eat
they
an oyster
eat.
would tell you that. Anybody would eat an oyster would tell
Absolutely.
you that this
Yeah.
bed of water and that bed of water is going to provide a different oyster.
Correct.
Right? Literally. Right?
I think I've kind of blown people away sometimes when I put it in my mouth and say, no, this is because often when I've gone places, people have asked me, would you taste our crab cake? Give us an idea what you think about it, and they'll tell me, oh, unfortunately, not too long ago, I was down on the Eastern Shore at a very plush, very well-known spot, and the waiter said to me, oh, we get our fresh seafood every day. And I said, you do it? He said, how about trying our crab cake? And I said, love to. So he brought it out. I took one bite, and I went, no.
You could taste
no.
And it wasn't just the
And
flavor.
I said,
it wasn't
and
just
I
the
said,
seasoning.
Yeah, I said, no, go back and tell me, go back and read the can and see what it looks like. I said, is it a tin or is it a plastic container? Tell me what it looks like. And he came back and he says, ma'am, you were right. And he took the price of my meal off the
oh,
dinner.
wow.
Because
So there is some honor.
so there, yes.
Okay.
He did not, and I was in Maryland at the time. That's what blew my
Right.
mind.
So here's where I want to get. By the way, Nancy Devine, Bill Devine, the great Faidley family, we're Faidley Seafood, we're Lexington Market, Don Moeller, of course. On crab cakes, okay? Everybody's got a recipe, okay? And everybody's got a favorite one or whatever. And this is almost where I get with Kiefer Mitchell about whether marshmallow belongs on a snowball or not. We all can have an argument, as to whether that's the case or not.
That's over a glass of orange juice, right?
I enjoy all. People say, "What's your favorite crab cake?" And I would say, "Well, I have a bunch of different crab. I mean, Costas. I've had sponsors from all places, and everyone makes it differently. And
Yep.
there's a real argument about whether a pepper, red pepper, green
Ooh,
pepper,
doesn't belong in there.
It
See,
does not. I'm
now,
with you,
see?
Bill.
Okay, I enjoy them.
Nah.
It also doesn't belong
Well,
in
that's
crab and
another
curry.
dish.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's
See, she's
another
from Chicago.
dish.
She'd say what's out there's real pizza. We would say that's a casserole. That's not pizza. That's a casserole. So from your recipe, give me a little background about the philosophy of your recipe. Too much of this, too little of that.
Without giving away the exact
and why
recipe.
your recipe is your recipe. Because how many crab cakes? People come to you all the time and say, I know it's not as good as yours because they don't want to offend you, but try this one and see if you like. Are there other crab cakes that you like?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sure.
What makes a
But
crab cake
I
delicious
made-
in your mind?
In 1987, we had crab cakes. We had one made from claw meat at one time frame, an inexpensive crab cake. I think it sold for 50 cents at one time.
Like a coddy almost?
And then we had, coddy was less.
Yeah, sure, of course.
I mean, and then we had one that was made from
Special.
special, which was
What they call back fin today.
yeah, and of course there were different ways of.
How many grades are there? 3 or 4?
now?
Well, it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
3. You sell 3 kinds. So there's claw, special, and back fin? Or
I
no?
only sell 2.
You sell 2.
I sell the one made from the body meat, which sometimes is called lump, sometimes it's called
Back fin.
fin. And I made one from jumbo lump.
And you said that was the first time anyone had done that.
Yes, it is the first one.
that's amazing.
Time because, well, it was an expensive, and you use the jumbo lump for other dishes, like imperial crab or specialty dishes. And I thought a lot about using jumbo lump because, of course, in this, I didn't have a white tablecloth.
She's bringing this over
And
because
I
we've had
felt-
this experiment. I want
here we
to
come.
show everyone because you gave us a number for this little box, and we got some napkins. We're at Faidley's, everybody, and if you're out of the video cam, you're going to want to see this. So
if you're listening to the podcast, you may want to
this-
jump on and
this
watch
is
it
an-
on Facebook.
So open these for us here if you're out. Damie's here. She's off camera, but
That's the back and that's the body meat.
okay. So this is the back fin, the body meat, and the camera's over here, but we it's okay.
This is the lump.
This is the
which
lump.
Is a straight pick.
Yeah, look
which
at the
means you
difference.
pick the entire crab.
So tell everybody about this because these look like little hearts of crab meat. We've all seen the difference between what. That's all right, but
Describe it, Nestor. Give it from the
so
visual.
you-
Describe it to folks who are listening in their car.
This would be
right
the
now.
smaller minced meat versus which looks like it could have come out of a claw, but it probably came out of a body, but it's a smaller piece. And these are these giant, almost hearts that you would call a jumbo lump piece.
That'll
How
take
many
time.
crabs does
In
it
that
take to make
16
that
ounce.
little box?
Now wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hold on.
This is going
This
to
is
it's a lump.
where they pick the
Bottom and the lump.
Oh, okay, so that's a
That's
mix.
straight
That's a
pick.
mix.
That's
Okay.
the jumbo lump.
And this is
That's
jumbo.
straight jumbo.
Show that one
all
off,
American.
Nestor.
So we can see that. Yes.
Show that one up.
Okay, we can see that. I can see it on the camera. It's all good. So this is the now. How many crabs is in my hand?
Start counting just the top layer.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would say there are.
So that's 5 crabs.
50 to 70
Crabs.
See,
crabs.
that's mind-boggling.
Each one of these is a crab.
No, 2 of them.
Two of
Two
them.
lumps.
Two
per
lumps.
crab.
Two
So there-
lumps to a crab.
So there's 30 or 40 crabs in my hand.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a lot of money when and these weren't
Yeah.
small crabs. These weren't little babies. These were
No.
decent.
And the rest of the body meat went into
And
the
if you see this yellow, that's all fat.
Fat. And
And
that's
that gives it flavor.
That's a local.
And-
That will taste different if this crab was from Texas.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
a lot
we
of
won't
it is
see,
washed.
right?
Yes.
That's what you won't
We'll
see in
that.
some other
Well,
Wow.
Damie's chiming in.
Damie's
She's-
I should have gotten her a mic.
Right,
I'll do that.
right.
in the
We're gonna
next
have to
segment.
bring her
You know
around.
what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we grab a quick break? We're at Faidley's. We're gonna eat some crab cakes. On the next segment, we'll come back. We'll get Damie a mic, and we'll
Yep.
talk some more about. I want to talk more about your business right now. Where your business is 2019. Who comes here? Why they come here? And also more of the history of the market
Hey.
because. We waited a long time to do Baltimore Positive. We want to do it in Baltimore, and there's nothing more positive than a Faidley's crab cake in downtown Baltimore.
And Nestor, I'm going to say it over and over. If you're out in one of the suburbs right now, I don't care if you're in Howard County, Carroll County, Baltimore County, get in your car. Come on down to Faidley's. Incredible, incredible place.
We're at Faidley's. We're at Lexington Market. We're back. It's a Baltimore Positive episode 18, 19.
19, episode 19.
We're losing track. We're back for more. It's Baltimore Positive, WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and WNST.net, where we never stop talking important things like whether peppers belong in crab cakes. Bill says no way.
I'm with Bill.